preppers across America are suddenly buying the same survival items again, and some of these products are already getting harder to find. But here's the question: what do they know that most people don't? Stick around, because today we're revealing the 10 survival items experienced preppers are stocking up on right now in 2026, including the one item almost nobody thinks about until it's too late. I spent hours researching the latest preparedness trends, emergency supply-demand, supply chain concerns, weather-related disruptions, and discussions from prepper communities across the country. And what I found was surprisingly eye-opening. While most people aren't paying attention, seasoned preppers are quietly making moves before shortages, price spikes, or sudden emergencies catch everyone off guard. In this video, I'm going to show you the 10 survival items preppers are panic buying right now, why demand for these essentials is increasing, and which overlooked item could become the biggest mistake if you wait too long. Plus, stay until the end because I'll reveal a bonus category that smart preppers are avoiding completely even while everyone else is rushing to buy it. Before we jump in, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any shortages, empty shelves, delivery delays, or unusual price hikes in your area recently? Drop your observation in the comments below because your experience could help other viewers stay prepared. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Number 10, water storage containers. If you've ever watched people rush into stores before a major storm, then you've probably noticed something interesting. Most people run straight for bottled water. But experienced preppers? They're often looking for something completely different: water storage containers. Here's why. Water is usually the first thing people worry about during an emergency. It doesn't matter if it's a hurricane, a winter storm, a power outage, or a local water system problem. The moment people hear bad news, they start buying water. Fast, and that's exactly why water storage containers disappear from shelves so quickly. Most people think the challenge is finding water, but preppers know the real challenge is storing enough of it. A family can go through a surprising amount of water in just a few days. You need it for drinking, you need it for cooking, you need it for basic hygiene. Suddenly, those few bottles in the pantry don't seem like much. That's why experienced preppers don't wait until an emergency is announced. They buy containers ahead of time and fill them when conditions are normal. Some keep a few large containers in a garage or storage area. Others use stackable containers that save space. The goal is simple: have water before everyone else starts looking for it. What's surprising is how quickly empty containers can sell out. The moment people hear about a possible emergency, they realize they need a place to store water. By then, thousands of other people have the exact same idea. And here's something many beginners overlook. Water isn't just about survival, it's about comfort. Having enough water reduces stress. It gives you options. It helps you stay calm when everyone else is scrambling. Think about it. During an emergency, you can live without many things: your favorite snacks, your streaming services, even your daily routine. Because as the saying goes, you can survive weeks without Netflix, but only days without water. And speaking of things that become priceless when clean water is hard to find, the next item on this list might be even more important than the container itself. Number 9, water filtration systems. Having water stored is a great start, but smart preppers know one important rule: stored water eventually runs out. That's where water filtration systems come in. Over the past few years, more people have started paying attention to emergency water filters. And in 2026, demand continues to grow. Not because people are expecting the end of the world, because they understand that water problems can happen anywhere and often without warning. Imagine turning on your faucet and being told not to drink the water. It has happened in cities, small towns, and rural communities across the country. Sometimes it's a water main break, sometimes it's contamination, sometimes it's severe weather damaging local systems. When that happens, clean water instantly becomes one of the most valuable things you can have. This is why experienced preppers don't rely on a single solution. They like having options. Some keep portable filters for emergencies. Others use gravity-fed systems that can filter larger amounts of water without electricity. Many also keep water purification tablets as a backup. What surprises many beginners is how small a water filter can be. Some are compact enough to fit inside a backpack, yet they can help turn questionable water into something much safer to use. And here's the interesting part. During emergencies, bottled water can disappear from stores within hours. But if you have a reliable way to filter water, you're not completely dependent on what's left on the shelves. That's a huge advantage. Another reason preppers buy filters early is simple. When a crisis starts, everyone suddenly wants one. Prices can jump. Popular models can sell out. Shipping delays can appear overnight. The people who planned ahead don't have to worry about any of that. They already have what they need. Because at the end of the day, water storage gives you a reserve. Water filtration gives you a backup plan, and in preparedness, backups matter. Now, clean water is critical, but eventually, you're going to need something else to keep going. Something that can last for years on a shelf and still be ready when you need it. And that's exactly why preppers are rushing to grab the next item. Number 8, freeze-dried food once you've secured your water supply. The next question becomes obvious. What are you going to eat? This is exactly why freeze-dried food has become one of the hottest items in the preparedness world. In fact, many experienced preppers consider it one of the smartest long-term investments they can make. At first glance, freeze-dried meals can seem expensive. Some people look at the price and immediately walk away. But preppers see something different. They see food that can stay usable for years without taking up much space. That's a big deal. Think about what usually happens during an emergency. Grocery stores become crowded, shelves start looking emptier by the hour, certain foods disappear first, bread, milk, eggs, fresh produce. It happens over and over again. Freeze-dried food solves a different problem. It isn't meant for tomorrow's dinner, it's meant for situations where normal shopping becomes difficult or impossible. And that's why demand keeps growing. Many freeze-dried meals are lightweight and easy to store. Some can last for decades when kept in proper conditions. Others come in pouches that are ready with just a little water. For busy families, that simplicity is a huge advantage. What's interesting is that many new preppers start with giant bags of rice and beans. There's nothing wrong with that. But after a while, they realize something important. Eating the same thing every day gets old fast. That's one reason freeze-dried food remains popular. It offers variety. Pasta dishes, breakfast meals, soups, fruits, vegetables, even desserts. During stressful situations, having food you actually enjoy can make a bigger difference than people expect. And here's a lesser-known fact. Whenever people start worrying about shortages or supply chain issues, freeze-dried food companies often see a surge in orders. Experienced preppers know this pattern well. They prefer buying before everyone else starts searching online. Because when demand spikes, waiting lists can suddenly appear. Now, food is important. But if there's one category that has been helping families prepare for emergencies long before freeze-dried meals ever existed, it's the next item on our list. And chances are you already have some of it sitting in your kitchen right now. Number 7, rice, beans, and pantry staples before expensive survival kits existed, before fancy emergency food buckets became popular. Families relied on something much simpler, basic pantry staples, and even today, experienced preppers continue buying them in large amounts. Why? Because they work. Rice, beans, pasta, oats, flour, sugar, and salt may not look exciting. Nobody is making viral videos about a bag of rice. But when it comes to emergency preparedness, these everyday foods remain some of the most valuable items you can own. The biggest reason is cost. A lot of survival products can be expensive, but pantry staples allow people to build food reserves without spending a fortune. That's especially important for families trying to prepare on a budget. And here's something many beginners don't realize. Prepping isn't about buying everything at once. Most experienced preppers build their supplies slowly. They grab an extra bag of rice during one shopping trip, a few cans of food on the next trip. Over time, those small purchases add up. That's what makes pantry staples so powerful. They are affordable, easy to find, easy to store, and most people already know how to cook with them. Another reason preppers love these foods is flexibility. Rice can be used in dozens of different meals. Beans provide protein. Oats make quick breakfasts. Flour opens up endless possibilities. Even something as simple as salt becomes incredibly important when stores aren't easily accessible. And let's be honest, grandparents were doing this long before the word prepper became popular. Many older generations always kept extra food in the house. They lived through shortages, economic uncertainty, and tough times. Having a stock pantry wasn't considered unusual, it was simply common sense. Today, more people are rediscovering that mindset, especially when grocery prices seem to climb higher every year. That's why these simple foods continue flying off shelves whenever people start preparing for potential disruptions. They may not be flashy, but they consistently prove their value. Now, having food stored away is important, but what happens if someone gets injured, sick, or needs medical care when help isn't immediately available? That's where the next item becomes absolutely essential. Number 6, medical supplies. Most people spend a lot of time thinking about food and water when preparing for emergencies. But experienced preppers often worry about something else first. What happens if someone gets hurt? It's a question many people don't ask until they're facing a real problem. Imagine a severe storm knocks out power across your area. Roads are blocked, stores are closed, maybe local services are overwhelmed, then someone in your family gets a deep cut while cleaning up debris. Suddenly, food isn't your biggest concern anymore. You need medical supplies, and that's exactly why preppers have been stocking up on them. One of the biggest mistakes beginners make is assuming they can always run to the store when they need something. In reality, emergencies rarely happen at convenient times. Supplies that normally sit untouched on shelves can disappear surprisingly fast. Bandages are a great example. Most people don't think about them until they need them. The same goes for antiseptic wipes, gauze, medical tape, pain relievers, cold medicine, allergy medication, and other basic first aid items. Then there are the items people use every day. Prescription medications. Many experienced preppers pay close attention to refill schedules and work within their healthcare provider's guidance to avoid finding themselves unprepared during disruptions. They understand that even a short delay can create major problems for people who rely on regular medication. What's interesting is that medical supplies don't just help during large disasters. They help during everyday situations too. A scraped knee, a headache, a minor burn in the kitchen, a twisted ankle. Having supplies ready means small problems stay small. And here's a lesser-known fact. During emergencies, people often focus on dramatic survival gear while ignoring basic health items. Yet experienced preppers know that staying healthy is one of the most important survival advantages anyone can have. Think about it. A flashlight is useful, extra food is useful, but if you're sick, injured, or unable to care for yourself properly, everything becomes harder. That's why many seasoned preppers regularly check expiration dates, replace used items, and keep their medical kits organized. They don't wait until an emergency to discover what's missing, because when a problem happens, that's the worst possible time to realize you're out of something important. And speaking of things people don't fully appreciate until they're gone, the next item becomes incredibly valuable the moment the lights go out. Number 5, backup power. Most people don't think much about electricity until it suddenly disappears. Then everything changes. Your lights stop working, your refrigerator starts warming up, your phone battery begins dropping faster than you expected, internet service may go down, and before long you realize just how much of daily life depends on power. That's one reason backup power has become one of the fastest growing categories in the preparedness world. Experienced preppers understand that power outages are no longer rare events. Severe storms, extreme weather, aging infrastructure, and unexpected grid problems can leave entire communities without electricity for hours or even days. And when that happens, people start scrambling. Stores often see a rush on batteries, power banks, generators, and charging equipment. The problem is that many shoppers wait until an outage is already happening. By then, supplies can be limited and prices may rise quickly. Preppers prefer a different approach. They buy before they need it. One of the most popular options today is the portable power bank. It may seem simple, but being able to recharge your phone during an emergency can make a huge difference. Your phone isn't just for entertainment, it's your connection to weather alerts, emergency updates, family members, and important information. Then there are solar chargers. Many preppers like them because they offer another layer of backup. Even if the power grid stays down, sunlight can help keep small devices running. Portable power stations have also become increasingly popular. Unlike traditional generators, many are quieter, easier to use, and can safely power essential electronics indoors when used according to manufacturer instructions. Of course, generators remain a favorite among many experienced preppers. For larger households, they can help keep important appliances running during extended outages. But here's something funny. Most people don't realize how important electricity is until their phone reaches that terrifying moment. You know the one, 3% battery remaining. Suddenly, everyone becomes an energy expert. That's why seasoned preppers think about backup power long before they actually need it. They know that staying connected, informed, and comfortable during an outage can make a stressful situation much easier to manage. And while generators and power stations get most of the attention, there's another item quietly disappearing from shelves whenever people start preparing. It's smaller, cheaper, and found in almost every home in America. Number 4, batteries. If backup power is the engine of emergency preparedness, then batteries are the fuel that keeps everything running. And that's exactly why experienced preppers keep buying them. It may not sound exciting. Batteries don't have the appeal of a giant generator or a high-tech survival gadget, but when the power goes out, they suddenly become one of the most important items in your entire home. Think about all the things that rely on batteries: flashlights, emergency radios, lanterns, smoke detectors, weather alert devices, portable fans, medical equipment. Even some water filtration and communication devices depend on battery power. Now imagine an extended outage. The batteries you already have start running low, stores nearby are sold out, deliveries are delayed. Suddenly those extra packs sitting in storage don't seem excessive anymore, they seem smart. That's why preppers often buy batteries long before they need them. Ah and AA batteries remain the most common choices because so many household devices use them. But many experienced preppers also stock rechargeable batteries. Over time, they can save money and reduce waste while providing a reliable backup option. Another type that's become increasingly popular is the 18650 rechargeable battery. These are often used in high-performance flashlights and certain emergency devices. While casual shoppers may not think about them, many preparedness enthusiasts consider them a valuable addition to their supplies. Here's something that surprises many people. Batteries have expiration dates. A lot of people buy them, throw them in a drawer, and forget about them for years. Then, an emergency happens and half of them don't perform the way they expected. That's why experienced preppers regularly check their battery inventory. They rotate older stock, test important devices, and make sure everything is ready before an emergency arrives. Because preparedness isn't just about owning supplies. It's about knowing those supplies will actually work. And let's be honest, few things are more frustrating than grabbing a flashlight during a blackout, pressing the power button, and getting absolutely nothing. That's the kind of lesson most people only need once, which is why batteries continue disappearing from shelves whenever people start preparing for uncertain times. But while batteries help power your equipment, they won't help much if you can't cook food or boil water. And that's where the next item becomes incredibly important during a long-term power outage. Number 3, propane and cooking supplies. Imagine this for a second. Your pantry is full, you have plenty of food stored away, you even have clean water ready to go. Sounds great, right? But then the power goes out for several days. Suddenly, a new problem appears. How are you going to cook any of it? This is one of the reasons propane and emergency cooking supplies have become such a priority for experienced preppers. They know that storing food is only part of the equation. Being able to prepare that food matters just as much. And when people start realizing this, demand for cooking supplies often increases very quickly. Portable camping stoves are among the most popular options. They're compact, easy to store, and can be incredibly useful during emergencies. Many preppers keep one ready even if they rarely use it during normal times. Why? Because emergencies don't care about convenience. A winter storm doesn't wait until you've finished dinner. A power outage doesn't check your schedule first. Problems tend to show up when you least expect them. That's why experienced preppers like having backup cooking methods already in place. Propane is another item that often sees increased demand. Small propane cylinders are commonly used with portable stoves, making them a practical option for short-term disruptions. Some households also maintain larger propane supplies for extended emergencies where it's safe and appropriate to do so. What's interesting is that many people focus on major survival gear while overlooking the simple tools needed to prepare food. Take the manual can opener, for example. It might be one of the most underrated prepper items ever. Seriously, thousands of people store canned food for emergencies. But every year, someone discovers a funny and frustrating problem. They have plenty of canned food, but no way to open it. That's not exactly the survival strategy they had in mind. Experienced preppers pay attention to these small details because they know little mistakes can create big headaches during stressful situations. Another benefit of having emergency cooking supplies is flexibility. You can boil water, prepare shelf-stable foods, make simple meals, and maintain a sense of normalcy when daily routines are disrupted. And that sense of normalcy matters more than people realize. A warm meal during a stressful event can improve morale, reduce anxiety, and help everyone feel a little more comfortable. That's why propane and cooking supplies remain high on prepper shopping lists year after year. Because food storage is important. But food you can't prepare is a different problem entirely. And while many people are focused on fuel, stoves, and cooking equipment, experienced preppers are quietly stocking up on something else that can become surprisingly valuable the moment electronic payment systems stop working. Number 2, cashiers, a question most people never think about. What happens if your money is in the bank, but you can't access it? At first, that sounds impossible. After all, we live in a world of debit cards, credit cards, mobile payments, online banking, and digital wallets. Most people can go days or even weeks without carrying physical cash. But experienced preppers see things differently. They understand that convenience and reliability are not always the same thing. When major storms, power outages, network failures, or technical disruptions happen, electronic payment systems can sometimes stop working. Card readers may go offline, ATMs can become unavailable, internet connections may be interrupted. And when that happens, cash suddenly becomes very important. That's one reason many preppers have started keeping emergency cash reserves. Not huge amounts, not stacks of money hidden throughout the house, just enough to cover essential needs if electronic payments become temporarily unavailable. Think about it. If a local store is open but its card system is down, cash may be the only way to make a purchase. The same can apply to gas stations, small businesses, or emergency situations where digital transactions aren't possible. And here's something many people overlook. Small bills matter a lot. Imagine trying to buy a few essential items during an emergency using only large bills. If a store has limited cash on hand, getting change might become difficult. That's why experienced preppers often prefer a mix of smaller denominations. It gives them more flexibility when making purchases. What's interesting is that cash preparedness isn't really about preparing for some dramatic scenario, it's about preparing for inconvenience. The same mindset that leads people to keep a flashlight during a blackout leads them to keep some emergency cash available. It's simply another backup plan. And preppers love backup plans. In fact, one common saying in the preparedness community is that 2 is 1 and 1 is none. In other words, if you only have one way to access something important, you may not have a backup when you need it most. Now let's be honest, most people feel pretty confident about money until they see an ATM with a long line. Then suddenly everyone starts wondering how much cash they actually have at home. That's human nature, which is why experienced preppers don't wait until a disruption begins. They make preparations ahead of time so they can avoid the rush. But as important as cash can be, there's one category of items that often disappears even faster during emergencies. In fact, these are products people use almost every single day, and many don't realize how important they are until the shelves are completely empty. Number 1, everyday essentials everyone uses. When most people think about emergency preparedness, they picture dramatic survival gear. Maybe it's a generator, a water filter, a huge stockpile of food. But experienced preppers often focus on something much simpler, the everyday items people use without even thinking about them. And believe it or not, these products are often some of the first things to disappear during emergencies. Why? Because everyone suddenly realizes they need them at the exact same time. Think back to previous shortages and supply disruptions. What vanished first wasn't always specialized survival equipment, it was ordinary household products. Toilet paper, soap, paper towels, cleaning supplies, cooking oil, coffee, sugar, pet food, personal hygiene products, baby supplies. These are items people depend on every single day. Most families go through them automatically as part of their routine. Nobody pays much attention to them until they become difficult to find. That's when panic buying starts. And that's exactly why experienced preppers stay ahead of the crowd. They understand an important lesson. The items you use regularly are often more valuable than the items you only use during emergencies. Think about coffee for a moment. For millions of Americans, skipping coffee isn't just an inconvenience. It's a rough way to start the day. During a stressful situation, small comforts can have a surprisingly positive impact on morale. The same goes for soap and hygiene products. People often focus on food and water while forgetting how important cleanliness becomes during an extended disruption. Maintaining basic hygiene helps keep people healthy, comfortable, and confident. Then there's pet food. This is a big one. Many new preppers spend months preparing for themselves but completely forget about their pets. Then they realize their dog or cat depends on a steady food supply too. Experienced preppers rarely make that mistake. They prepare for every member of the household. And here's something that's easy to overlook. These everyday essentials are usually much cheaper to buy gradually than to replace during periods of high demand. When shortages happen, prices often increase quickly. Products become harder to find, choices become limited. That's why seasoned preppers prefer to build supplies over time rather than waiting until everyone else starts rushing to stores. Because preparedness isn't always about dramatic survival scenarios. Sometimes it's about avoiding unnecessary stress, having the products your family already uses, keeping daily life running smoothly, and staying comfortable when others are struggling to find basic necessities. But before you start filling shopping carts with everything in sight, there's something important you need to know. Some of the smartest preppers in America are actually avoiding certain purchases completely, and their reason might surprise you. So, what can we learn from all of this? The biggest lesson is that experienced preppers aren't waiting for emergencies to happen. They're preparing while shelves are still full, prices are still reasonable, and supplies are still easy to find. Notice something interesting about this list. Most of these items aren't fancy. They're not high-tech survival gadgets. They're not products straight out of a disaster movie. They're simple, practical things people use every day. Water storage containers, water filters, food, medical supplies, backup power, batteries, cooking equipment, cash, and everyday household essentials. The truth is, preparedness isn't about fear, it's about reducing stress. It's about having options when unexpected problems show up. Because emergencies don't always arrive as dramatic headlines. Sometimes it's a severe storm, a long power outage, a supply chain disruption, a temporary shortage, or a sudden price spike that catches everyone by surprise. And the people who prepare ahead of time usually handle those situations much more comfortably than those who wait until the last minute. That's why the smartest preppers focus on steady preparation instead of panic buying. They buy a little at a time, they stay organized, they rotate their supplies, and most importantly, they avoid the rush when everyone else suddenly realizes they need the same things. Now I'm curious about your area. Have you noticed any shortages, empty shelves, delivery delays, product limits, or unusual price increases recently? Maybe it's food. Maybe it's batteries. Maybe it's pet supplies or household essentials. Let everyone know in the comments because your observation could help someone else prepare before it's too late. If you found this video useful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more prepper news, emergency preparedness tips, survival gear updates, prepper pantry strategies, budget prepping ideas, and 2026 preparedness trends. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss an update when new preparedness information drops. Most importantly, I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 survival items are you stocking up on right now? And if you think I missed an important item, share it in the comments below. The prepper community always has valuable insights. And your experience could help thousands of other viewers prepare smarter. Thanks for watching, stay prepared, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.